All right, welcome everyone. I'm gonna play some opening music here as folks are joining. Feel free to drop your answer in the chat.
You get a shiver in the dark, it's raining in the park, but meantime, sound of the river, you stop and you hold everything. A band is blowing Dixie, double fall time. You feel alright when you hear the music ring. Well, now you step inside, but you don't see too many faces. Coming in out of the rain, they hear the jazz go down. Competition in other places, but the horns, they blowing that sound. Way on down south, way on down south, London town. Check out Guitar George, he knows all the chords. Mine is strictly rhythm, he doesn't wanna make it cry or sing. If that an old guitar is all he can afford, when he gets up under the lights to play his thing. And Harry doesn't mind if he doesn't make the scene. He's got a daytime job, he's doing alright. He can play the honky tonk like anything, saving it up Friday night with the Sultans, with the Sultans of Swing.
All right, hate to cut a good song short, but we're gonna get started here. Welcome everyone to session 4. We're gonna go over lists today and complex data types, so super excited. So feel free to type in your answer in the chat. Feel free to also throw in a highlight of your weekend. We are at Monday, we're starting a new week, so exciting. So happy that you all are here. So welcome, welcome. I do see a lot of great guesses coming in the chat. It looks like a lot of folks are saying C. So we're gonna save that just for a little bit later. We're gonna come back to it. But starting off, we just had Q&A time with Danny. So just a reminder, he is here until 1800. So if you guys have any questions about Code Platoon, about the challenges, anything to do with like pre-work, Danny's your person. He also dropped his email in the chat, so feel free to email him as well if you can't make it to the Q&A times, but feel free to come on early. We're going to welcome you back. We are going to do a review with Kahoot. So if you're not familiar, Kahoot's like a quiz type game. So I figured this would be a fun way just to kind of refresh our memory, look at some code conceptually. And then we are going to do like a group challenge together. So you'll be in groups of roughly 2 to 3 people, or 3 to 4, depending on how everything splits. And you'll work on a prompt that will bring back everything we've gone over in week 1. So just a reminder, all of the links, so when you're on Slack, you can find all of the links here in terms of the curriculum, the slide deck, which I'm on right now, compilers, and then I did check on the daily check-in forms. It looks like you only have to do the daily check-in form versus the attendance form. I did check with Danny and Francisco. So as long as you're filling that out, it logs your name. So please just make sure that you complete that. All right, so everything's here for you. So just a reminder, this is in Slack. And so if you need these resources to help you on the group challenge as we kick off session 4, feel free to use those resources. All right. Yes. They also are pulling it from Zoom. So as long as your name is matching your name, feel free. All right. And I see someone saying, hey, hey. All right. No, you just have to do this one that's linked here, and I gave that at the end of class. No, so they pull it from Zoom so they can double check like who's attending. But yeah, if you can do the daily check-in form, that is perfect. All right, so we're gonna start with our Kahoot today. All right, so if you're not familiar, type yes in the chat if you have played Kahoot before. Okay, okay, quite a few. Okay, cool. So we're gonna just keep it like super simple. All right, I'm gonna drop the link to join. So this will take you right there. You can use an alias if you don't want to use your real name, but again, school appropriate, please. All right, let's see how many folks we have on the call tonight. We have 28 folks. So I will start when we see roughly 20-ish. And if you're not able to join via this link, feel free to type in your answers in the chat. All right, I'm going to give folks 30 more seconds. Looks like we have a lot of folks joining. All right, type me in the chat if you're going to make the podium. Can you post the link to Slack? Yes. Type me in the chat if you are going to get one of the first places. So it's based on accuracy and it's based on speed. Just say no, be confident. Say me. Maybe. Okay, Latoya, that's all right, we're gonna get started. It's okay, it's okay. This is just for fun, just for fun. All right, so here we go. Oh, can everyone still see my screen with Kahoot? Okay, thank you. All right, so what will this code do? What will this code do? Be careful. Be careful here. Think about the data types. That's the hint I'll give you. Think about the data types. All right, for my friends, just keeping an eye out on the timer. You have 5 seconds left. Give it your best guess. Ooh, okay. Yeah, this one was tricky. All right, it looks like 6 folks got it. So All right. There were plus, now it should be 10, but this is actually going to throw an error. Why is it going to throw an error? Yes, Mario. Yes. Okay, so I'm not going to give away the solution to that because you are going to see that coming up. So let's see hold on one second. Let's see who is in first place. So let's give some love in the chat. It looks like Aloy and then it's and Alice, Evan, and Joe B. So good job. All right, here's our next question. What function converts number variables into strings as needed in this code? So what would you use to fix that? Sorry, this one is going to go really fast. You only have about 10 seconds left for my folks. Final 5 seconds. Beautiful, that's right. The string, right? So we would cast 10 or num animals with string in order to output this. But as Mario said, you can also use commas and combine the different data types. But remember, if you try and add them together, we can't add a string and we can't add a number or an integer, right? Or a float. So you have to make sure that you're either using commas or you cast. All right, that one was kind of tricky, but wanted to test and see what you guys remembered. Okay, Eloy holding on to that top spot. Alice, Joe, B, and Evan are also on the board. All right, what will this code do here? What will this code do? This one is also fast. You have 10 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, so this is going to ask the user for their name, and then it's going to store it in a variable called name. So it's going to print this out to the output. What is your name? And then it's going to store the input as name. All right. What's a better way to combine this? What can you guys do to combine this? Type it in the chat. Do I need 2 lines of code here? What could I have done instead? What could I have done instead? Okay, but I also want to have the input. Yeah, I could have like outputted yes. That's right, Alice. Yes. I could have outputted print and then input what is your name. Very good. Excellent. So I could combine those 2 lines of code. So when we're thinking about optimizing our files, right, or combining lines of code, think about those things of how you can make it more efficient. So Eloy, very good. You're at the top. Awesome. That's okay, Alice. What will this code output here? So thinking about our math, which we went over on Thursday. Thinking about our operations, order of operations matters. Last 5 seconds. Very good. Yeah, 13. So we do 5 times 2, which is 10 plus 3. Excellent. Eloy hanging out at the top. So it's Tim, Alice, and Joe B. Still anybody's game. All right, what operation is done with this character? The /. What operation? All right, last 15 seconds. All righty. So yes, that's right. Everyone got that who answered. Good job. All right. What would be the output of the following piece of code? All right, last 5 seconds for folks still answering. Yeah, this one was tricky. Okay, so let's trace it, right? So we're calling upon this function something. We're entering in the 13 for number one and the 10 for number two. Now, when we go through and we look at how these parameters are used within the function, right? So first value takes the first argument, right? Number one plus 8. So what would that be? Type in the chat. Number one plus 8. What would that be? We're taking in, yes, that's right, Joe and Mario and Latoya. Fabulous. All right, and then we have the second value, which is taking number 2, and we're going to do what's going to be our answer for that one. Yeah, that's right. That's going to be 5, right? Because we're taking in 10 and we're subtracting 5. Now, what are we returning? Which variable are we returning? Are we returning both? Yeah, just the first value. That's right. So our output should be 21 because it only returns. So be careful of that, right? We're still doing this other operation in here, but we're not actually returning it anywhere. We're only returning the first one, okay? So just be careful of that. All right, very good, very good. Okay, let me exit out of that. All right, so here's our scoreboard. Aloy, you're back up at top. It's you're right behind B, Evan, and Key. So great job, everyone. All right, select the correct answer to the following piece of code. Moving too fast. Sorry, sorry. Oh, like you're typing in fast? Yes. And if you need to Google this one, feel free to Google it. Hopefully it comes back to you. We did use it a couple times last week. Yeah, so that one was kind of tricky. So we use len. So we use len in order to count the number of characters. Yeah, dynamic coding. I love that, Ryan. Yeah, the more you use it, the more it comes back to you. Love it. But if you couldn't remember, feel free to always look it up, right? Awesome. So Aloy hanging on to that top spot, but it isn't too far behind. And then Evan, Alice, and Joe B. All right, I believe this is our last one. Okay, so what would be the following line of code output? Take your time with this one. By the way, I didn't do letter C. That one I'm pretty sure you guys would catch is not the right one because it was going to make me pay to use more than 4 answers. So sorry. Your only options are A, B, D, and E. All right, last 10 seconds here. Last 3, 2, and 1. Very good, y'all. Y'all are super smart. All right, yeah. So, hold on one second. Oops. I gotta bring this pen down again. Give me a second. Okay. All right. So, as you can see here, we are selecting from first name, right? We are taking the index. We're starting at 0, which is the first position, but we're only, right? Remember, this one is not inclusive. So we're only grabbing this first position. All right, and it's going to be a capital J. So the J-O is out. All right, and we know that the E is out. All right, so we just have J, or sorry, A and D left. All right, then we have a period. All right, so it's J, period. We add a space, and then it's last name dot lower. What does dot lower do? Type in the chat. What does dot lower do? What's the purpose of dot lower? Yeah, that's right. It's gonna like lowercase everything. So our correct answer here is J dot lowercase weathers. Now, if I wanted it to be like this, I could have just left it, right? But let's say this is all in lowercase to begin with. Let's say the person typed it in lowercase and I wanted it like this. What could I use to make it like this? Anyone remember? What could I use? Starts with a C. Yeah, I could use dot title. Excellent, Alice. What's another one I could use? That's a good guess, Joey. On the right track. I want to make just the first one capitalize. That's right, Latoya. Yeah, capitalize. Very good. So I'm not expecting you to remember all of these, but again, just like Ryan said, like it comes back as you use them. You can always look them up in W3 schools. Totally fine, totally normal. So if you're not sure like what's out there, keep researching until it feels more comfortable, right? Excellent job. So let's give some love in the chat to our winners here. So it looks like on our podium, in third place, we have Alice. So congratulations, Alice. In second place, we have Aloy. Congratulations, Aloy. And then in first place, we have it. So congratulations. And everyone did awesome. And then we have Joby and Evan here. And then we have everyone else. So congrats, congrats. Hopefully you found that to be a good way to just quickly review. So at this point, hold on one second. Let me get out of this full view. All right, and we'll do more of those kind of at the start of the week just to kind of refresh on what we learned the week before. We only have one more week after this. So, yeah. So with that, we just did our review Kahoot. We are going to go over our group challenge. So you'll have quite a chunk of time to work in your groups. And one thing I want to go over before we do that is just talking about iterations. Can anyone tell me what an iteration is? If anyone knows, like if I asked you like, hey, this is my first iteration of my project. This is iteration 0. And then a couple weeks later, I'm going back and tinkering my code. I'm like, oh, this is iteration 1. Yeah, so it could mean each time you go through a loop, but it's also, or each time you're going through data, but it's also like your version, right? So you can also say it as version. Now I wanted to go through that and I just want to say I sincerely appreciate like everyone's feedback. Thank you guys so much. It's been awesome reading through them. And I hope that I can continue making these classes fun for you and really making sure you get what you need to feel really confident in your coding journey and feel successful like going into Code Platoon. So please let me know how I can make it even better for you. But thank you. I did want to just quickly go over one thing because we start to see this a lot because I don't know about y'all, but sometimes like when we approach something, we're like, hey, what is like the best way to do something? Or what is like the only way? Because it can seem overwhelming. Type me in the chat if you sometimes feel overwhelmed by seeing how many different ways you can code something. I know, yeah, it can be like super overwhelming. Look at all those me's in the chat. You are not alone. It is overwhelming. And I will say that as you all are thinking about like these prompts and these programs, guess what? You guys are stepping into roles as software engineers and you're making these decisions on the code. And so, as much as it would be beautiful only to have one way to do something, we know that things are complex, right? Does anyone have any project management experience? Yes, the lectures have been recorded. Mario, you do. Okay, awesome. Sadly, me, Brandon, no. Yeah, so you guys know that, like, if you've done Scrum, if you've done project management, Agile, right? You know that there's all these different factors that we constantly have to consider when we're coming together and we're working on a project. You guys like with AI, it's no longer like you guys have so many tools. We all have so many tools that can help us with code, but what can't replace us is the decisions that we make, right? The engineering practices that we employ. And when we think that we are not our user, we think about who's coming to our page. We think about what they need. We think about what the business we're working for needs, especially if we're running like e-commerce, right? We want to make sure we're providing our clients with products that they're going to buy from us, right? So there's a couple things I want to just quickly revisit. We'll look at evens and odds, but I did want to actually go over the opening code here. So, question for you all, could I make this code block simpler? What do you think? Could I potentially make this simpler? Yes, Mario's saying yes. Mario, do you mind coming off mute and sharing your idea about how I can make this simpler? Sorry to put you on the spot, but if you can come off mute, I'd love to hear your idea. I know, putting you on the spot. Sorry. If not, feel free to type in the chat, or Ryan or Brandon, do either of you feel comfortable coming off mute? And no worries, just wanted to hear y'all's thoughts. There's no right or wrong answer. Okay, no, it's all good. It's all good. So we could, like, theoretically, let's say we get rid of square, right? Could I potentially run this code and still use this upper value? Yes or no? I mean, I could change this, right? I could do instead of square, I now do power and I do 5, 2. Would that still work? Yes or no? Would I still get C, which y'all brilliantly said in the chat at the beginning, 25? Would I still get 25 as my answer if I cut this out? And sorry, I could put N, but I could put 5 too. Yeah, I would, right? Because this would go in and it would take 5 and 2. It would raise 5 to the power of 2, right? And it would return 25. So I would still get the same answer. I didn't need this. And so we might see this in our calculator as x raised to the power of n or something like that. Type yes in the chat if you've seen that on a calculator. It's like x raised to the power of n, where it allows you to put in a base and allows you to put in a power. Now, let's say on my calculator, though, I'm working a lot with squares. So I want something that is a square root, right? Or like a power, right? I might want another button that does x to the power of 2. Well, hey, wait a minute. If I want to pre-code this in, I'm going to need something like this. So although if I asked you, hey, I want you to create a function that takes in 5 and squares it, you could theoretically just do this top one, right? We see that we would get the same answer and your code would be great. But sometimes we want to add more functionality. So sometimes we need to make the decision as software developers, hey, I want my user to, instead of doing like, okay, 5 and then 2 every time, if they're squaring a lot, they can just type in 5 and it saves them a little bit of time, right? So that's a decision that we make as developers with like providing that to our user. let's go over one more example. And this is actually what I think it was Danny. I always think of Danny because he was bringing this up in the breakout room. I don't know if you're here tonight, Danny, but shout out to you. Um, so I'm going to just do a little bit. And if you can type in the chat, we can code this together. Let's do our evens and odds again. So we won't take in input from the user. Let's just keep it simple. So someone give me a number. Give me a number. 3. Perfect. Thank you. All right. What is the simplest way that I can check if this is true, if it's even, and false if it's odd? So I'm going to just do this. True if even, false if odd. And just a reminder, we can use the $ for our comments. Yes. All right. So let's do that. So we can just do print, and I can do number. And then what symbol do I use? If I want to see remainder. Yeah, modulo, that's right. So modulo, 2, and then we're going to do double equal. So be careful, we're using double equal, 0. So let's execute it. And in the chat, it says false. All right, and then I know I can do this for execute, and it will say true. That is the simplest way for us to code this out, right? It's super simple, it's clean. But let's say we want to, I don't know, we're coding an ed tech platform for students who are in elementary school learning about evens and odd numbers. And instead of saying true or false, we want it to print out 4 is an even number. 2 is an even number. 3 is an odd number. Well, we need to make it more complex, right? So we haven't gone over this yet, but does anyone know the syntax for conditionals? Does anyone know the syntax for conditionals? Maybe from your pre-work. Very good. You guys are so smart. Yes. What am I doing teaching this class? You guys need to come teach this class. Yes, that is right. Okay, so let's modify this. So let's start, instead of print, we can say if number is divisible by 2. All right, I want it to output, hey, blank is an even number. How can I do that? How can I do that? So I would do print, and I could do, again, we can use comma, number, right? And then space is an even number. So let's try that out. Let's see if it will actually run. Bam, we have it right here. 4 is an even number. Beautiful, and we don't even have to really worry about the space because we have the comma. Now, what if it is an odd number? Else, that's right. So else, we can say print number is an odd number. And then we just run the various test cases, right? So we can say number 4, number 3, right? Because we can replace it. 3 is an odd number. So do you see how you make the decision as an engineer depending on what your user needs? If I'm teaching kids in 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, I want something like this so it helps them see, hey, odd and even, versus if I just need true or false, I want something simple. So that goes back to, yes, in a perfect world, it would just be one way and it would be good, but you all are stepping in and you guys are making the decision, and you got to think about, who are my users, who's gonna come to my site, how can I make it feasible for them to engage? Okay, so enough of me talking. One last thing before we do the group challenge for about 20 or so minutes. I want you to aim for MVP as you start to build these skills together. Now type yes in the chat if you've heard of MVP, minimum viable product. Yes? Type no in the chat if you haven't. That's okay if you haven't. That's okay. So some no, some yes. Okay. So minimum viable product basically means you do like your first iteration, the minimum, right? Maybe you're still a frowny face. It's not where you want to be, right? You want a car eventually. You're not just going to start with a wheel and then do a wheel and axles and a wheel and a body, but no engine, and then finally, hopefully, get to the car if everything works right. You want something like a skateboard, right? It works, it gets you to where you need to go. Maybe you're like, I can't really balance, but at least it's going. Then you're like, okay, I'm going to add a handle. All right, now I want to add more like larger wheels. I want to go faster, a bike. Oh, I want to add an engine to my bike. I'm going to use a motorcycle. And then eventually I get to my car. So that's revamping and it's taking something that works and going from there. So yes, you eventually want to get to this big picture, but you don't want to like bite off more than you can chew and like not have something work and then try and get there because it's going to be really challenging. You want to start with something that works and then just keep building on and keep adding more features. So with that, we're going to start with our coding challenge, right? So for my friends who are traveling this summer or maybe traveling soon, all right, in your groups of three, maybe four, I want you guys to choose someone to be the driver, right? So your driver is the one typing in the code, all right? Your navigators are the ones like, hey, like voicing everything, right? The driver can still voice things too, don't worry. But try this out, all right? And so do a function called boarding pass. All right, you want to take in arguments. All right, so you should have parameters here. Think about maybe defaults that you might want. You should take in the passenger's name. You should take in the airline. You should take in the flight number, the seat number, and whether or not they have a carry-on bag. Then you want to return the boarding pass for the user. I would like for maybe two or three groups to share. After when we come back, we'll do a break before we start our content for tonight. But have fun with it, challenge each other, ask each other questions. If you are in a group and you guys are all really making sure that you get it, add another function that allows a traveler to calculate their layover time at the airport between connecting flights. So think about what information you need, maybe what time the first flight lands, what time the second flight takes off. Keep it simple, right? Think about what operations you may need. All right, I am going to post this in our Slack. Where should we assume? Oh, great question. So you could either have the user type it in. You could, depending if you guys feel comfortable, you could have them type it in arguments. So again, I'm going to just put this in our intro to coding here. Or you could just pre-code it in already, whatever you guys feel most comfortable with. All right. And if you, hold on. Yeah, no worries. So if you're not able, like I know some folks are traveling home from work, if you're not able to really engage at this time, that's why I'm gonna put probably three or four. Please just come back if like it's just like one person, you're like, hey guys, where are you guys? But hopefully three to four per room. We get at least two or so folks able to work together on this. All right, so I'm creating the breakout rooms now. So it looks like majority have three to four. All right. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm gonna open up. Oh wait, hold on. I'm gonna recreate because I know one person cannot. All right, I think that looks good. All right, I'm gonna open up breakout rooms now. Stay behind if you have any questions. I'll give you guys about 15 minutes in your groups to work on this, and then we'll come back, we'll have a couple share aloud. So have fun with it. Opening up the rooms now. And I will also put it in the chat. Oops. All right, I am going to stop the recording or pause. I have a couple folks who said they would like to share, but if anyone else would like to share as well, if you could raise your hand at this time in the participant panel. I think I was tracking Alice and then Joey. Nick, you'd like to share as well? Okay, amazing. So we'll do Alice, then Joey, then Nick in that order. Okay, wonderful. So Alice, I'm going to stop sharing my screen if you want to share yours and go over what you and your group talked about. Oh, I'm going to ask for you to unmute Alice. I see that you are on your code but cannot hear you.
Oh, thank you. Sorry about that.
No,
Um,
you're good.
well, this is what we came up together as a group. Is to create a function called boarding pass that takes in a passenger's name, airline, flight number, seat number, carry-on bag, and return a boarding pass. And the extra challenge is add another function that allows the traveler to calculate their layover time between flights. And so I'm going to pass in arguments of the function boarding passenger, passenger name, airline, flight number, seat number, carry-on bag. And then I'm going to make a formatted string literal that interpolates passenger name, airline, flight number, seat number, carry-on bag. And I'm going to return it as a string. So I'll return the function, but I'm going to ask the person or the user for what is your name, what is your airline, what is your flight number, what is your seat number, do you have a carry-on bag, and say yes or no. And then the second part is that I'm going to create a function that uh, has the parameters of arrival time for the first flight and departure time for the second flight. And so I'm going to take the layover time, which is subtracting both of those two, and then come out with the answer. And so when I ask the user to input those numbers, I'm going to subtract them. And so here it is. I'm going to clear the terminal. And I'm going to run this code here. And you see that this is the result I got so far, and this is the extra challenge. The first plane's going to come in 8 hours. Um, the departure time of the second flight is going to be 16 hours. And so there's going to be an 8 hour layover.
Amazing. Y'all, give Alice and her group some love in the chat. So go Alice's group. Thank you for participating and to share, Alice, and great job to you and your group. You guys did a fantastic job. Love the use of string literal interpolation with the F strings. Love, as Mark pointed out, the backward slash N to make it so it's printing out on a new line in your terminal. It looks really, really clean and looks amazing. So great job. All right, next up on our list, we have Joey. So Joey, if you would like to share your screen and take it away.
All right. So I was in the same group as Alice, and I really liked the way she had her code. Um, Hers was just a little more, I would say, user friendly. Uh, so I created a function called as I don't know if you can see it. Is this too small? 'Cause-
Yeah, we can
okay.
see it.
Okay. So I created a function called the boarding pass, and it takes, the five parameters, which is the passenger's name, airline, flight number, seat number, and whether they have a carry-on bag or not. So inside the function, I use the multi-line F string to build the boarding pass. The curly brackets, um, the curly brackets insert the value we give the function into the correct place. Um, and then from there, the return statement sends the completed boarding pass back to the uh, program. Uh, and I used these little uh, quotation marks because they let you run the code through along different lines. Um, and I was just kind of picking that up. But it's, you just input everything basically right here and what you wanted to say, and then it'll print it out. But I like the way Alice had hers because it was more of like you input the information so it's more universal so anybody can use it. They just got to input their functions. I didn't get that extra challenge because it was not enough time. But that's what I had.
Amazing, Joey. Let's give Joey some reactions and love. Joey, before you stop sharing your screen, like folks that are saying in the chat, love how you use the multi line F string literal. It looks super clean. So great use of that. And then also, no worries if you didn't do input. I love how on line 56 that you did a enter in between each one. So it was really clean to see your arguments. Like Joey C, Delta, here's the flight number, here's the seat number. Yes, like I love that. And that's really great code kit. So it's really easy to look at your code and understand quickly what it's doing. So excellent job, Joey. And thank you for sharing how you approached it. And great
Thank
job
you.
to your group. Of course. Amazing. All right. So we have one last person who's going to share, and that is Nick. So, Nick, go for it if you want to share your screen.
I almost don't want to share my screen anymore. But I
Aw.
will. I don't want to, but I will because I know it's important to us being able to learn. I did want to share because we weren't able to get the right answer, and we seem to be way far off than like other people's. And just so you know, this I just added by like looking at Alice's code while she was talking. Our code actually looked like this before. And so I guess the primary question here is like, I'm sure our syntax is wild. I guess like how do we what resources can we use to kind of understand for like the newbies that's never coded before to like understand like that engineering process of hey, I need to define this and put commas and semicolons here. We were just trying to get define the function, and then we just listed everything out that we knew that we were supposed to have, and we just kind of, work through like, okay, we know that the flight number needs to be an integer, the seat number needs to be an integer, and then we kind of thought, well, the seat number is really like 35F or 35D, and the flight number probably has letters in it. So like, what can we use? At the beginning of this to like change, right? And so like what resources, because I know this is really bad, but like what resources can we use, or is it just kind of doing it over time? Or because where we were struggling, we are trying to like go back in our notes, find other syntaxes that were similar, and then trying to like use that, kind of like as an example. And I don't know, we really struggled. We couldn't get it to work, but that's, I mean, that's what we got so far.
First of all, love that you guys like were thinking about it and approaching it in this way, like and putting together these pieces. Like you knew, hey, I want input from user. Hey, I want to input as a string, integer. So you guys were trying out casting. Um, this is definitely like a strategy you can use with and we haven't gone over this yet, but if you wanted to like run a program and you'll actually do this in Code Platoon, like one of your projects. I remember we did ours was like a Blockbuster store. So you had to use a while loop and you had to provide the user with like multiple opportunities to input. So Nick, although like it didn't quite come together for like this like example just yet, like keep this in mind because you may use a similar format when you're working with while loops and when you want it to go through and like while this is running, like ask the user for this and store it and slightly modify your code. Um, I think for this, it just takes, as you said, just like practice and going through and like trying this out. One thing I will say is that when you're running if you want to put in arguments, just make sure like you're super close. Just make sure to put them into parentheses like you had there when you were seeing like Alice's code. Just make sure that you're inputting that in. But you guys were on the right track. Just have that in mind because there's some code blocks out there like when we get to loops that you will have this sort of setup from line 32 to 36 where it's on a while loop and it's asking the user question after question. So love this and great job struggling through it. Can we give him like some love in the chat? Like great job like trying out different things and putting things together. Sometimes it doesn't work the way we want it to the first time, but like great job trying out different things. So save that code actually if you can comment that out and then we'll keep modifying it as well. Yeah, it's all about practice and repetition and thank you, Nick, for being brave to share that because sometimes it is intimidating to share when we don't get it to work like we want it to. But you guys were definitely on the right track and you were thinking about the data types, you were thinking about how you wanted to get it from your user, and you did a really solid job. Oh, and Latoya says she got your code to work, guys. Latoya, do you want to share your screen? Okay, Latoya's gonna share your screen. Okay, Daniel, I'm gonna just
Right,
put you on.
thank you guys. All right, can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so again, what we had done, I don't know how to get this black thing. Oh, there it goes, it left. So we added a helper function named get info because at first we were having trouble passing it through just in the boarding pass function. So we made all of the inputs, like again, we did the skateboard to the car kind of example. We knew that we needed to get all of this information. Then we made a variable with the F string inside of it that had everything, and then had it return pass boarding. And then we called our boarding pass function and made pass boarding equal get info, and we returned that. We probably did a couple extra steps because we were confused, but then it did end up giving us the answer we wanted. Did that make
Latoya.
sense?
Yes, love the helper function. And I love how you were referring to like, hey, we started with the skateboard and then we're going on to the scooter and going on to the next step, but it looks so good. So, yeah, just adding in Nick and your group, maybe taking this block code that Latoya talked about with her helper function and trying to incorporate that in and seeing if you guys can get it to work for you. Latoya, thank you so much for sharing. And if folks could be encouraged to also share their code in our Slack channel if you feel comfortable, just for other folks to see. I know that, hey, this was reviewing from last week and it was a lot, but feel free to I'll actually make a thread. So if you want to drop your challenge code here. And that way other folks can take a look. So thank you for sharing that, Latoya. That was awesome. I'm going to give you a heart.
Right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, friends. So we are at break time. So great job. I'm going to give you guys 10 minutes. So take a biological break. See you back here in 10 minutes. All right. As folks are coming back, I realized I forgot to record for the adding elements section. So if you're viewing this recording, please make sure that you access the slides at the top of resources and check out slides 120, 121, 122, as well as the content in Slack. As folks are coming back, hopefully that was enough time for everybody. I hopped around most of the rooms, if not all of them, and was able to check in on folks, and a lot of folks seem to be getting it. But I did want to just reserve this time for any questions. If anyone wants to see anything coded out, please just let me know. Also, would love to provide the opportunity for anyone to share their screen and walk through what they did. So if I have one or two folks who want to do that, even if you weren't able to get it to work, just remember to be brave. This is a safe space and we can learn from one another. So I do see Joey C. I love it. Do I have one additional volunteer? Yes, we're going to go over that in the next section, Alice. So that's a great segue. So we're going to just share code right now, and then we'll go over remove, pop, etc. Great question. All right. So Joey C, why don't you share your screen?
All right. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, we can.
Right. So this is, can you see the screen?
Yes, we can.
So number one was, uh, I guess pretty simple. Just insert day of the week, Monday, insert Tuesday in between Monday and Tuesday. So that would be one because Monday would be zero. Um, and then you append. So appending would give Thursday towards the end of the string. And then Sunday, you'd insert Sunday at the beginning. So you would make that zero because that's the beginning of the string. And then print the days of the week. And for part two, I had the first part and then I had to debug. I had to debug part of the replace because you can't replace apparently in a string. So it had me remove it and then remove and insert into the place where hotel was. So hotel was in number one. So it had me remove hotel and insert one for resort into one, and then insert seven at the end, which would be concert. And then when I printed it, it gave me this here. These are the two lines of code work that we worked on. These last two.
Amazing. And I love how you troubleshooted by using dot remove and dot insert. So love that. That's one of the few that's one of the strategies that you can use. So I love that. So let's give Joey some love with reactions. Ooh, Latoya said I finished, guys. Thank you. Love that. Well, thank you, Joey. That was awesome. So I am going to share screen again. You guys will have your second 10-minute break. So grab what you need. When we come back, we'll be in our last little bit where we're going to go over how to remove parts of our list as well as how to access different parts. So I'm going to play the timer here and I'll see you guys back in 10 minutes. The recording here. All right, so let's get into removing. All right, so there's quite a bit of things that we can do to remove elements, and you guys were already tinkering around with that during your practice time in breakout rooms today, which was super, super cool. So let's take a look. So you can easily remove elements by using the pop method. All right, so for example, if we have our list here and we do dot pop 2, now why do we do the number 2? What is that going to target? What is that going to target? Yeah, it's going to target like the third spot. It's going to target true here, right? So remember, indexing starts at 0, so it's going to be 0, 1, 2 is technically the third spot here, but it's at index 2. So it's right. So when we see our list output, right, we have I, none, and 28. So the dot pop method can be very handy for removing our elements by index. Now, let's say we want to remove it by value, all right? We can use the dot remove to do this. And so I don't know where none is. Let's say I have no idea where it is in the list. I can use, as you'll see here, I have my list. I can use dot remove, and instead of putting the index like I would in pop, oops, goodness me, sorry. I can use dot remove and put none. And then when my list outputs, I have I, true, and 28. Now, one thing I wanted to go over is that there are additional methods that we're not going to cover just for our time in this intro to coding course, but I do think that they are important. Again, we use W3 schools for like everything because it's so comprehensive. If you look on the left-hand side, you can find everything, like all these different topics. And if you scroll down to Python list, you can see that there are ways for you to access list items, change list items, etc. Now, Alice brought up like, okay, there's some additional methods that we want to go over. So, for example, if you wanted to change values like we saw in Joey C's code, you could do dot remove and then dot insert. That's definitely one way. You can refer to the specific index. And then again, just like we reassign a variable, we could say like, all right, change this banana to black Quran, and then print the list, right? You could also do it on a range of items. Let's say we want black currant and watermelon, and we're putting it in at, hey, I'm going to do my range between 1 and 3, but not including 3. Which two values are going to be replaced here in this list? Which two values are going to be replaced in this list up here? Yeah, banana and cherry, right? Because it's going to start at index 1, which is where the banana is. It's going to go to index 2, and remember, it doesn't include the 3. It like stops right before it. All right, so the banana and cherry are going to be replaced. And then again, these are just additional ways to try it. All right, and sometimes you can change the value by replacing it with two values. So let's say I wanted to insert or change and then insert watermelon, right? I could do it like this. I could say, okay, change banana, but put in both of these. I don't want to change cherry. I want cherry there. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can approach this. So I did want to just kind of like share this. And then you guys did a great job of using dot extend, and I know some folks typed in their code. So take a look at y'all's code in here. So Alice put her code in here as well as Latoya. So take a look at their code. Alice, I will heart yours soon. I just saw it. I didn't get a chance to look at it. But that's how we can go through and remove. So again, we can remove by value and we can remove by index. And there's a bunch of different methods that we can use for our list. So let's go back to our travel itinerary. All right, so you guys did this here. So let's actually try this. So I'm going to uncomment out mine. And let's just do a quick check for understanding. So again, how do I add on museum at the end of my list? Like, what do I do? Dot append. That's right. So I'm going to do itinerary. Dot append. And I'm going to do museum. Amazing. Okay. let's say I want to add beach, shopping, and park. How do I do that all together? What do I do? Instead of a pen, I can use dot extend, right? So let's do itinerary, dot extend. And I'm going to put all of this in here. Beach, shopping, park. All right, and then let me just print out my list so I can make sure that everything's good to go. And then I'm going to start removing things. Okay, so let's run it. Execute this. Ooh. Oh, where did I make my mistake? What did I forget? Yeah, I forgot the bracket. So that's a common thing. Make sure to include your brackets. All right. There we go. We have everything good to go now. So I have, oops, hold on. Not now for that, please. All right, I have airport, hotel, museum, beach, shopping, park. All right, so let's start removing stuff. All right, let's say for instance, I want to get rid of the beach, right? I didn't bring the right shoes. I don't want to get sand everywhere in the museum or shopping. Like as much as I love the beach, it's not going to work out. So how do I remove beach? What do I do to remove the beach? I love it, Mario. Mario, I love that. That's perfect. Dot remove. Okay. So what does that look like? Am I going to type in the position or am I going to type in the value? Yeah, Ryan, that's a good question. So dot extend is when you want to include like another list, like you're joining together a list at the end. And dot append is when you just have a single value. So it's a great question, Ryan. And yes, Latoya, and yes, Aloy, yes. So we would put in the value and then we would use dot remove. So let's do that. So itinerary, sorry, no beach this time. Okay. So then let's print our list to make sure that we did it correctly. All right, running this here. Okay, did I get rid of the beach? Yes or no? Did I do that right? Let's see, airport, hotel, museum, shopping park. Yeah, sweet, it's gone. All right, let's say I'm like running late and I'm like, all right, the last thing on my list, I'm just not gonna get a chance to get to. As my husband will say, I'm the worst at time management. We're always late. And he's like, babe, love you, but nope, we can't get to it. I don't know what the last item is. I just know I won't get to it. How would I remove that? What would that look like? Yeah, dot pop. Okay, let's say I don't know the index. What could I do for dot pop? What would represent the last? Yeah, I could either do none. So let's try it with none, or I can just do -1. So let's just try it. Dot pop and then print itinerary. So remember, code compiles from top to bottom. So make sure that you're keeping that in mind when like your order when you're working with list. And yeah, I don't have to necessarily put anything there because dot pop will take it from the very end unless I give it a number, right? So if I did 2 instead, we would see that it would take out museum this time instead of the park. But if I don't put anything there, it takes out the end by default. Okay, very good. All right, so what you guys are going to do now, and I'll give you guys about 10 or so minutes in your breakout room, is you're going to go through, and what I want for you guys to do is try and get down to what you had before. And only do it with removing and popping. So just try that out. Maybe I'll give you like 7 minutes because I don't think this will take too long. I think you guys are really getting it, which is awesome. And so try removing and popping what you added before to get back to this list. All right, so try that out. Again, you can work like underneath the try it's. Don't delete any of your code from before. print it out first to make sure that it's good to go. You have your list and do exactly what I did, right? Like say like, all right, I want to remove this. I want to get rid of museum. Like I won't have enough time. So try that out. All right, I'm gonna open up breakout rooms for y'all. We can probably keep in the same breakout rooms. I think, yeah, a lot of folks are still here. So I'm gonna open up the breakout rooms. I'll give you like 7 or so minutes. Have fun with it, and I'll see you back here. All right, thanks everybody. All right, let me know if you need any help moving to your breakout rooms. And I'm gonna pause the recording. All right, would love for one person who I haven't heard from yet today who would like to share what they did. Even if you didn't get through and do all the removing and all the popping to get back to the original list, who would like to share what they worked on? Even if it was just a little bit, like you're wrapping your mind around how to use it, even if you're trying out different things, being curious. Would love for someone to share who hasn't shared yet. Raise your hand in the participant panel or say me in the chat if you would like to share. And just remember, this is a safe place. Let's be brave. Anybody? Joe, you haven't shared yet today. Awesome. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Go for it, Joe. Thank you.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Let's see. I'm just realizing now, I think I only did the first part of it, but
No worries.
so here we are with the days of the week. And I used remove to pull out Tuesday, which was inserted up here. I used pop to get rid of Thursday because that was added to the end. And I used remove for Sunday and then reprinted. It shows up down here. We're back to Monday and Wednesday.
Amazing. And your code looks really nice with your comment and the spacing. It's really easy to follow along. So excellent job. Nice job, Joe. Let's give Joe reactions in Zoom. That was awesome. Super, super awesome. So thank you for sharing.
Thank
Look at all
you.
those reactions. Love that.
Feel amazing.
Thank you, thank you. All right, and yes, Latoya, that was my bad. So I kept forgetting to set the timer to only 30 seconds and instead it was 60. But don't worry, I just repeated myself. So the the folks who came back early heard me say like the same thing like 5 times. So sorry about that. I need to make sure I check off 30 seconds instead of a whole minute. All right, so our last little bit here, just a review because you guys have been doing an awesome job with this. We worked on this last week too. Lists, you can also do slicing like we saw with our strings. So just a reminder, we have, just like we had the string name, it's literally the same syntax, start and stop, right? So remember, we are starting at this position here. So it would start at none. We include everything up until the second one, the stop, not the stop itself. So we're including what's at position 2. We're not including what's at position 3 because that's where we're stopping. So I think you guys have a really good handle on that, but I did try and code out a couple of folks' names. I didn't get through everyone. I just like chose like the top of the list for the breakout room and put folks there. So no one would be like, oh, those are the favorite. Nope, I just chose who I saw. So let's say, for example, I want to output Nick and Eloy. So how would I do that? What would that look like if I just wanted to output by using this slicing method. I want Nick and Eloy. Where would I start? What do you guys think? Yeah, I'm going to start at 3 for Nick, and then it's going to go to what for Eloy? Yeah, it's going to go to 5, right? Because it's going to stop at Joey, right? So if I wanted to do, let's see, print, we can do our class. And again, whenever you want to access something, you do your square brackets. You could either do the position itself or you could do a range, right? So we're starting at Nick and we're going to Eloy, but we're not including anyone else before or after. So when we print this out, we should see here that we have Nick and Eloy. All right, so give me a 1 to 5 where you guys are at with that because we covered that a lot last week and I just want to see where you guys are at. So 1 to 5, like 5 being like I understand it pretty well. I could teach someone else like how to do the slicing. I know that like at the start, that's the index start. I know stop is like it goes up until that, but doesn't include it. Okay, I'm seeing like 3s, 4s, 5s. Great. Okay, so when we meet on Wednesday, probably our returning like group work at the beginning, I will work on just incorporating something light in here. But I did want to just finish by dropping this accessing list items. So as you can see here, this kind of goes through all the different examples. So if you wanted to see and just try it out here with these embedded IDEs, how to access like a range of indexes, the last one, second to last one, you can try all of that out for yourself, including how we did our ranges last week, and that's a good review. So with that, my friends, we made it to the end. Give yourself some reactions, some pats on the back. Your Monday night hung in there. So thank you guys. You guys are amazing. Appreciate the energy, appreciate the participation, appreciate you guys helping one another out. This is such a good vibes class. I'm so excited to come here every like Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. So you guys have made it so fun for me. So thank you for just being amazing. For attendance, I know they're tracking through this. And I know they're tracking through Zoom. So if you can just fill this out, I do read through it. So just be honest about how it's going for you. If you need anything, let me know. Feel free to also like message me on here. But I love all the sharing of code, so keep it up. And once you're done, you're good to go. And I'll see you on Wednesday. So thank you guys.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night.
Yeah, you too.
I posted my breakdown in the chat, as you can see.
Yeah, love that. And I love that you did remove coffee shop value. You did dot pop for the end. Love it. Train station dot pop. Beautiful. Oh, and you replaced the last one. It looks like you replaced the last one with hotel. Is that correct?
Yeah, because you said we turned it back to normal. 'Cause
Yep.
remember, we turned hotel to resort, so we had to take it back to what it was.
Love that. So great job. Looks awesome.
I'm slow, but I'll figure out certain ways. I was playing around
No.
with the code. I was playing with the code earlier. If you scroll up to my other code, I take a little longer. I think you went too far. Line. There's a hashtag somewhere there. I forgot. I put it in the middle somewhere. Um, keeps going up. I think it was the other one.
It was the one like the days of the week.
I think so.
Okay.
There's one of them where I was playing around with a couple of different ways of doing it, and I
Mhm.
commented out one of my things. I think I did I don't know what I did. See, I forgot just that fast. It's in there somewhere. I gotta see it to remember it.
Yeah, no worries. It looks really, really good. Oh, this is what you did because you shared this in the chat, yeah? You did.
I did that one, but no, there's another one I did. I did it two different ways, and I commented out one of the ways that I did it. Which one was it? Let me find it on my. Let me go to my side. My screen's bigger than yours. I'm old. I'm 54. I got this big ass monitor, so I can see stuff.
No, you're good. Age is just a number. You're good. Um, right here, is this what you're talking about with the insert and the pen
Which line? Let me see.
on add Thursday to the end? It looks like you tried it out two different ways. You did.
Yes, yes.
Okay, sweet. I love that.
So I did that, and I commented one out to see how it both works, but it actually worked pretty well. So
Yeah,
it takes me a little longer because I try to figure out sometimes when I'm doing it, multiple ways of doing it while I'm doing it to see what I get.
absolutely. Be curious with your code. Like, honestly, that is the best way to learn. Like, hands down. Like, be curious because you can break code and then just undo it. And you know what I mean? Like, I love Control Z. Like, you can undo what you did and then, or comment things out. So yes,
Yeah.
break your code, be curious. That's how you learn. And then you have those light bulb moments and you're like, ah, okay.
All
And it
right.
means like it all starts to click. So absolutely, I love that.
All right. Thank you, Maggie. You have a wonderful night.
Yeah, you have a great night too. I'll see you on Wednesday.
See you on Wednesday.
Hey, bye.
Bye.
Quick question, Megan. What does the attendance count for?
Um, I I will follow up with Danny, but they're just tracking folks and I believe they're like linking it to like as folks apply for like Code Platoon. They're just like tracking your like progress in like pre-work. I don't know like the admin side of Code Platoon, but I do know that they are using this data.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. And then Marcos, you said, I want to practice and work on proficiency. Can you list all the topics we covered so far? Yes, don't worry. When I reached out to them, they said they could see it through Zoom too, Marcos. Because I know some folks had to like leave early and stuff like that, or they joined late, that kind of thing. So I think they're looking at both of them, but I will gain some clarification on that from the admin side of things. And in terms of what we covered so far, Marcos, we covered everything. So if you come here, this is our curriculum, and it's also linked in Slack. And so if you come here to the foundations, you can see like what are variables, and then it walks you through on both JavaScript and Python. We're focusing on just Python here, but you can also see kind of like how it compares in JavaScript. And then logging and printing, data type. So if you just scroll down, it has everything that we went over in variables and data types, and then click on functions and you can go through the functions part. So this was like primarily week 1. And then last week on Thursday, between Wednesday and Thursday, Wednesday we covered strings and string methods. Thursday we covered numbers all the way down to none. So we got through all of this. Tonight we did arrays and lists.
Okay.
When we meet on we're going to go over control, conditional, loops, built-in methods, dictionary literals. So actually this is it's a long session 5. I might see if I can shorten that a little bit. But yeah, so it's going to go over these parts. And then also it's going to go over some of this apparently as well.
So on the next one, we're doing complex data types, logical operations, and primitive data types. Are those three?
We covered primitive last week. So yeah,
Okay.
for this week, we're in between complex and logical.
Okay.
And we'll work on for next week, which is our last week. We're going to work on solving algorithms and doing that more.
Okay. Thank you so much, Megan. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Have a great night.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.